Hello and welcome back to another episode of Stewballs Gaming. Today we're going to be starting a new multi-part series that we're going to be discussing the 101 basics of space engineers. So this one's going to be different than my previous one because I'm going to break it down into really small, simple sections. We're going to try to make the videos extremely short and not have redundancy across multiple videos as much as possible, understanding that sometimes we do need to have a little bit of redundancy. So this episode is going to be mainly about just how to set up your first game. So this is when you start up the game, this is the screen that you're welcomed into, and we're going to be starting into a new game. A lot of people say there's these scenarios here. A lot of people say it's a good thing to do these first. I've done them. I can't tell you anything about them. You do them once and you completely forget about them. So you don't really learn a whole lot about the mechanics of the game. It kind of puts you in scenarios. It's more like trying to set up a campaign, whereas this game is more based on survival and creativity and that sort of stuff. So we're going to be going over to, there's a workshop which you can pull in different scenarios from online that people create, but we're going to be going over to the custom game settings. And today we are going to be, if you scroll all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom, you can see some different scenarios that you can have. We're going to be doing a star system setup, and we're going to be doing survival for this tutorial. Mods, we will be not running any mods. I've got some mods. I'll be doing a video about what mods I really like, but for this one we are not going to be doing mods. And here's some of the world settings that we can set up. I normally like to leave most of these the same, especially for this tutorial. So your character's inventory is just how much you can carry yourself. Blocks inventory, how much your station, your rovers and your airplanes and aircraft can carry, and so on and so forth. The rest of them, efficiency and speeds of different tools you'll be using. We're going to be running a safe environment. We'll run the normals. Viewing distance, I'm going to extend it just a little bit just so you can see stuff. The normal 15 kilometers is pretty good though. And we're going to keep on going down. Max objects. So this isn't the number of max like ships that you can have. It's more of the, like it says here, the free floating objects. So when we get into mining, there'll be rocks that break off. And so those will be dictated by this. Once you go over 100, then they start deleting in the order that they showed up. So I'm going to drop this down to 50. I don't need a whole lot. 45, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Max ship size doesn't matter. Total PSU, we're going to disable that. My computer is capable of running a lot of it. If you have a computer that isn't the most modern, or maybe doesn't have the best specs, or later on, you can change any of these settings later into the game. But for this one, like, that's a setting that if your computer isn't the best, I would definitely downgrade that a little bit in order to, I guess, give your computer a break. I'm going to turn up these backup saves. Whenever I'm doing tutorials like that, like this, it's just a little bit easier. If I need to go back and try to re-explain something, I have the backups for it. We are going to leave pretty much all this alone. There's some different stuff you can do in here, different snares you can do. Like we can turn off our jetpack if we wanted to, or there's spiders and wolves or different scenarios that you can set up, but we're going to leave pretty much all this the same. The only one that I'm going to increase, I might just increase these two, just for the sake of making this a valuable tutorial and making sure that I don't repeat myself. It just makes it a little easier for me, not necessarily degrade the video at all. So we're going to continue on, and we're going to hit star system and hit start. And we're going to load into, and it's going to give us some options. For this particular tutorial, I'm choosing to be on the moon. But you can see here that there's an Earth-like drop pod, and it kind of gives you a little bit of information about how difficult it is and why there's such difficulty. So for example, this one, it's easy because there's oxygen. Whenever you don't have oxygen, you have to find oxygen. And gravity plays a big factor in how much energy it takes to get off the planet, or essentially, can you use rovers? Like in space, you can't use rovers. But like, for example, the moon, you can still use rovers. Its difficulty is hard. There's no oxygen, and we're going to be playing with 0.25 Gs. And we start with a little bit different. You can see this is the Earth drop pod that we start with, and this is the Moon drop pod. So we're going to press respawn, and it's going to take us into the game, and we start on the surface of the moon. And that is all we're going to do for this video, is just get us into the first game of survival. If you've made it this far in the video, I'd appreciate if you liked and put a comment down below of what your thoughts are so far on this, if there's settings that you would change personally if this isn't your first time playing Space Engineers. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one.